The offside trap. Football's classic defensive chess move. A coordinated step forward, an arm raised to the linesman, and the attacker's run is nullified. It's a strategy that has frustrated the greatest strikers for generations. But there was one man for whom this rule seemed more like a suggestion. A player whose very existence seemed to break the game's logic. His name was Pelé. So, how did the king not just beat, but demolish the offside trap long before VAR and modern rule changes? The answer is a masterclass in physics, psychology, and pure footballing genius. First, you have to understand the foundation, his explosive acceleration. Defenders rely on catching you flat-footed, but Pelé's first few steps were a violent eruption of power. He could be standing almost still, and in the blink of an eye, he was 5 yards past you. This allowed him to play a dangerous game right on the shoulder of the last defender. He mastered the dip. He'd slow down, even stop, lulling defenders into a false sense of security. The moment their concentration broke or they took a half step forward, he was gone. It was a physical and psychological feint. But raw speed isn't enough. Plenty of fast players get caught offside. What set Pelé apart was his supernatural anticipation. He wasn't just reacting to the pass, he was predicting it. He could read the body language of his teammates, the angle of a hip, the shape of a foot, and launch his run a fraction of a second before the ball was kicked. This is the ultimate key to beating the trap, timing. Notice how he's perfectly in line. He wasn't just sprinting blindly, he was orchestrating. And he rarely ran in a straight line. He used bent, arcing runs. This kept him onside longer, made him harder to track, and allowed him to see the entire play develop in front of him. Perhaps his most devastating weapon was his tendency to abandon the striker position altogether. Pelé would constantly drop deep into midfield. This created a nightmare scenario for defenders. Do you follow him and leave a massive hole in your defensive line? Or do you hold your position and let the most dangerous player in the world turn and run at you with the ball? This is where his signature move, the give and go, was born. He'd drop, receive the ball, and play a quick pass. The defender who had stepped up to mark him was now neutralized. In that same motion, Pelé would spin into the space left behind and sprint onto the return pass. The offside trap was completely bypassed. All of these elements came together in one of his most iconic goals. Watch. First, he receives the ball deep, with his back to goal. The defender is tight. Then, the technical deception, a sublime touch to flick the ball over the defender's head. But the genius is what happens immediately. He doesn't wait. He spins and explodes into the space. The defender is now a statue caught in no man's land. The offside trap is irrelevant. The race is over before it began. The goal plays at full speed. Pelé volleys it into the net. So, Pelé didn't have one trick. He had an entire arsenal. He combined the speed of a winger, the timing of a sniper, the vision of a chess grandmaster, and the cunning of a street footballer. He forced defenders to deal with him in multiple dimensions. He wasn't just a striker, he was a system. A system designed to find and exploit space where none seemed to exist. He didn't just beat the offside trap, he redefined what was possible for an attacker forever. What's the most genius way you've seen a player beat the offside trap? Let us know in the comments.